At 5:30 a.m., Olivia Carter's alarm pierced the morning silence, a familiar sound that marked the start of her weekday routine. With a frustrated sigh, she pressed the snooze button once more, but ultimately dragged herself out of bed a mere 15 minutes later. Her compact studio apartment was practical yet confined, reflecting the realities of starting salaries in Manhattan's marketing scene. Following a swift shower, she picked up her portfolio along with the coffee she had brewed the previous evening, now tepid in its travel mug. The subway was as crowded as ever. Olivia held her portfolio tightly against her chest, safeguarding the designs she had labored over until the early hours of the morning. Refining. 3 job interviews in 2 weeks resulted in nothing but courteous rejection emails. This one had to succeed for her. The time had come for the rent to be paid, and her savings were quickly slipping away. "You're going to that charity masquerade tonight, right?" Her best friend Mia's voice came through her earbuds. "I've got an extra ticket." "Mia, I can't afford a gown, let alone belong at some high society event," Olivia replied, wedging herself into a corner of the subway car. "I've got that covered. My cousin backed out, and her dress will suit you just right. Let's go live." Connecting with others. Wealthy individuals seem to take great pleasure in contributing to charitable causes, nearly as much as they enjoy employing marketing professionals. Olivia sighed. "All right, but I'm out by midnight." Interview prep doesn't pause for anyone. 12 hours later, Olivia found herself motionless at the entrance of the Waldorf Astoria's grand ballroom, a golden mask hiding half her face. Crystal chandeliers illuminated the gathering of Manhattan's elite with a soft, inviting light. The borrowed dress, a stunning midnight blue creation that likely exceeded her rent for 3 months, felt unfamiliar against her skin. "Stop looking like you're about to flee," Mia murmured, adjusting Olivia's mask. "You look stunning. Now go socialize. I spot some potential clients for my gallery." With that, she vanished into the throng. By herself, Olivia approached the bar, requested a glass of champagne, and settled into a secluded corner to watch. The space buzzed with individuals who appeared entirely comfortable in their affluence. They laughed, mingled, and thrived in a realm she had only caught fleeting glimpses of in glossy magazines. Not enjoying the party, she turned to find a man in an impeccably tailored black suit standing beside her. His mask was simple yet elegant, black with intricate silver detailing that accentuated his piercing gray eyes. "Is it that obvious?" she replied. "You're genuinely observing the room rather than seeking its attention." His voice resonated deeply, laced with a touch of amusement. It was a breath of fresh air. Meanwhile, across town that morning, Ethan Sinclair occupied his corner office on the 52nd floor of Sinclair Tower. Financial reports cluttered his desk as he readied himself for the afternoon board meeting. At 32, he had been at the helm of Sinclair Enterprises for just over 2 years, stepping into the role after his father's sudden heart attack, and he still felt the pressure of proving his worth every day. "Your uncle wants to reschedule the board meeting again," his assistant said, setting a fresh coffee down on his desk. Ethan's jaw clenched. "Inform him that the date remains unchanged, and verify my presence at the charity event this evening. Naturally, your suit has arrived, and the car will be prepared by 8. Such gatherings were unavoidable burdens. Chances to attract investors, captivate business allies, and uphold the Sinclair family's status in New York's elite circles. This evening would follow the same script. Exchange greetings, offer assurances, finalize agreements. The same performance he had been delivering since his youth. "So what brings you to this specific assembly of the elite and influential?" Ethan inquired of Olivia, his curiosity piqued by the woman who appeared so incongruous yet completely enchanting. "Can you imagine the lengths people go to for connections?" Olivia chuckled, taken aback by her own candor. "I would trust authenticity, which is more precious than diamonds in this space." Their dialogue unfolded seamlessly. Olivia opened up about her challenges in entering the marketing field, expressing her deep love for weaving narratives through design. Ethan absorbed the conversation, providing thoughtful insights with genuine respect. "Dance with me," he said suddenly, as the orchestra began a waltz. "I should warn you, I've never actually waltzed before. I'll take the lead, just trust me." And she followed through. As they glided across the floor, the distinctions between their worlds appeared to fade away. He twirled her with finesse, allowing her to feel elegant even in her lack of experience. "You never revealed what your profession is," she acknowledged as the melody came to a close. "This evening, I'm merely a figure behind a mask," he responded, his smile igniting a flutter in her heart. "Isn't that the essence of masquerades? To embody another persona for a single evening?" The effervescence of champagne, the allure of music, and his complete focus ignited a daring spark within Olivia. When he proposed they seek a more secluded spot to converse, she readily acquiesced. They found themselves on a hidden balcony, gazing out at the shimmering city lights. Their dialogue grew more profound, exploring aspirations, setbacks, and longings. Time slipped away, unnoticed. "I haven't felt this at ease with anyone in," Ethan paused. "Possibly ever." As he leaned in to kiss her, Olivia met him halfway. The kiss began softly, then intensified with fervor. All else dissolved into the background. The celebration, their disparities, even the identities that remained unspoken in the essence of the masquerade. "Stay with me tonight," he murmured softly against her lips. In a different existence, Olivia may have paused, but tonight, concealed behind her shimmering mask, she merely inclined her head. 5 years later, Olivia straightened her blazer and smoothed her skirt as she entered the elevator of Sinclair Tower. A well-known flutter of anticipation danced in her stomach, intertwining with a hint of anxiety. After years of unwavering dedication, countless late nights, weekend sacrifices, and an unyielding determination to persevere, she had ultimately achieved her dream role as marketing director at Sinclair Enterprises, one of the most esteemed companies in New York. "First day jitters?" the woman beside her inquired, observing Olivia's deep breath. "Is it that obvious?" Olivia beamed, gripping her leather portfolio more firmly. "I recall my own. You'll be just fine, unless you're on your way to the executive floor." The woman pointed to the glowing button for the 52nd floor. "That would be me. Wishing you all the best." Mr. Sinclair maintains strict control. The name remained unfamiliar to Olivia. Throughout her interviews, she had the opportunity to meet with the HR director and the outgoing marketing head, yet she had not encountered the CEO himself. She was familiar with his reputation. Exceptionally talented, exacting, and famously reserved. Marco, her assistant, welcomed her with a steaming cup of coffee and a carefully crafted schedule for the day ahead. "The executive meeting is scheduled for 30 minutes from now. I've put together a briefing packet for you. Thanks. Any advice for navigating my first leadership meeting? Be prepared, exude confidence, and remember not to take it personally if the CEO appears tough. He challenges everyone because he values outcomes." Olivia dedicated the next 20 minutes to going over the briefing packet, thankful for the diversion from her anxiety. Her thoughts drifted back to that night 5 years prior. The masquerade, the enigmatic stranger, awakening alone in a vacant hotel suite. She had long overcome the shame and sorrow, redirecting her feelings into her work. At exactly 9:30, Marco guided her to the boardroom. Executives were already taking their places, engaging in light conversation. Olivia introduced herself with assurance, shaking hands and committing names to memory. She was prepared for this moment. "All set, everyone." A powerful voice pierced the noise as the boardroom doors swung open. Olivia pivoted and became still. At the head of the table stood a figure she would know anywhere, even without a disguise: Ethan Sinclair, the enigmatic man from the masquerade, the one who had vanished without a word. Their gazes intertwined, and the atmosphere around them shimmered with a sense of familiarity. For a fleeting moment, his calm demeanor wavered, revealing to Olivia that he too held a memory of her. "Ms. Carter," he said, his voice measured and deliberate. "Introducing our new marketing director. Welcome aboard." Olivia offered a composed nod, even as her heart raced. Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. She settled into her seat, appreciative of the years spent honing her skills with demanding clients. That experience enabled her to keep her cool in the face of the unexpected. Her thoughts were a whirlwind. Ethan Sinclair, the head of Sinclair Enterprises, the man who had slipped away from her hotel room before sunrise, leaving her with only memories and lingering questions. During the meeting, she sensed his eyes frequently drifting back to her. As she delivered her first evaluation of the company's marketing strategy, she addressed the whole room, deliberately steering clear of his gaze. Her voice was unwavering, and her arguments were precise and eloquently expressed. Impressive analysis for someone who's been here less than 2 hours, commented an older executive, the CFO, as noted in her briefing. I believe in doing my homework, she replied. Your reputation precedes you, Ms. Carter, Ethan remarked. Your contributions to Peterson Media were certainly recognized. Was there a nuance in his tone, a suggestion that he had been observing her journey? Olivia dismissed the notion. Just coincidence, nothing else. As the meeting wrapped up, the executives exited, but Ethan stayed in his seat. Ms. Carter, could you stay behind for a moment? Marco offered her an encouraging nod before shutting the door, leaving them in solitude. The silence lingered between them, thick with unexpressed thoughts. 5 years of quietude. Olivia, he finally uttered, her name resonating with a closeness when it fell from his lips. I prefer Ms. Carter in professional settings, Mr. Sinclair. Her tone was cool and controlled. He approached her cautiously, as if she might bolt. I searched for you. Did you really? She collected her papers, seeking a task for her hands. They probably didn't search thoroughly enough. I awoke to a family crisis. My father suffered a heart attack. When I finally made it back to the hotel, you had already left, and I had no way to reach you. A note would have sufficed, she remarked, finally locking eyes with him. Or your name. Either would have been more than what you abandoned me with. I feel the need to clarify everything. That won't be required. Olivia straightened her posture. What occurred 5 years ago does not influence our professional relationship. I'm here to fulfill my duty, Mr. Sinclair, and I plan to execute it with the utmost excellence. His demeanor shifted, becoming a touch more serious. Absolutely, professionalism is paramount. Is there anything else you wish to address concerning the marketing strategy? Not today. His gaze remained fixed on hers. But I believe we both understand that this dialogue is far from finished. On the contrary, Olivia replied, stepping toward the door. It never truly started. She exited with her head held high, holding back a trembling breath until she arrived at her office. After 5 years of crafting her career, destiny had pulled her back into his sphere. The cosmos certainly had a peculiar sense of irony. Yet, this time, she was no longer a naive girl caught up in a fleeting moment of dreams. This time she was Olivia Carter, marketing director. No man, CEO or otherwise, would derail her again. In the following 3 weeks, Olivia solidified her position as a formidable presence within Sinclair Enterprises. She transformed old marketing methods, energized the creative team, and captivated board members with her analytical strategies, all while keeping a professional distance from Ethan Sinclair. It was a challenge. His office was just down the hall from hers, and their paths intersected every day. Every time, that familiar electric tension ignited between them. Occasionally, she noticed him observing her during meetings, his gray eyes filled with unexpressed thoughts. The design team adores you, Marco remarked, placing a pile of proposal drafts on her desk. Thompson from finance, not so much. Thompson's resistant to change, Olivia replied, her eyes darting over the documents. He'll come around when the numbers improve, Marco said, pausing for a moment. There's more to it. Whispers are circulating. About. The dynamic between you and Mr. Sinclair is quite intriguing. Some believe there's a past between you, and Olivia felt a knot in her stomach. Office gossip is a natural occurrence. Ignore it. Yet, the whispers intensified. Olivia became aware of furtive glances during meetings, conversations that fell silent upon her arrival. She committed herself to her work, arriving earlier and departing later, determined that her performance would be impeccable. One evening, while immersed in her work, a knock broke her focus. Still here? Ethan lingered in her doorway, his jacket tossed aside, sleeves rolled up to showcase his powerful forearms. Quarterly projections, she articulated, motioning towards her screen. Join me for dinner. Olivia glanced up, startled. Pardon me? Evening meal. A dialogue. 5 years past the deadline. I don't mix business with pleasure, Mr. Sinclair. This isn't about business. He entered her office, shutting the door behind him. Olivia, we can't continue to act as if that night never occurred. I'm not acting at all. I am concentrating on my work. Just 1 hour, that's all I need. His typically authoritative voice had mellowed. Place of compromise. The eatery on the other side of the street. Before she could reply, her computer chimed with a new email. Thankful for the diversion, she looked at the screen, then halted. The subject line read, Sinclair's secret past, and there was an attachment included. With a swift motion, she opened it without a second thought. A mock-up of a tabloid article, featuring a blurry photo that seemed to capture Ethan at the masquerade ball from 5 years prior. The headline shouted, CEO's enigmatic one-night affair. Who was she? What is it? Ethan inquired, observing her expression. Without a word, she pivoted the screen in his direction. His expression grew somber as he perused the words. Who sent this? He demanded. Anonymous. Olivia's thoughts whirled. But it hasn't been published yet, Ethan said, running a hand through his hair. This is no mere coincidence. The timing is intentional. What do you mean? The board is set to vote next week on a significant acquisition I've been advocating for. My uncle is against it, he said, pointing to the screen. This is how he operates. Personal attacks masked as care for the company. Olivia rose, fury taking the place of disbelief. So I'm merely collateral damage in your family's power play. No, that's not. I've put in too much effort to end up as gossip material. She snatched her bag. I must leave now. Olivia, please hold on. He grasped her arm softly. Please, just 1 hour. Let me explain everything. Perhaps it was the sincerity in his voice or mere intrigue, but Olivia felt herself agreeing. 1 hour. The restaurant was elegant yet unassuming, hidden from the bustling main street. Ethan guided her to a secluded booth and, with confidence, ordered a bottle of wine, bypassing the menu entirely. You recall my drink, Olivia noted, as the waiter filled her glass with Cabernet Sauvignon. I remember every detail of that evening, he responded softly. A hush enveloped them until Olivia shattered it. Begin speaking, Ethan. He inhaled deeply. My father suffered a severe heart attack at 3 in the morning. That morning, my mother called, her voice trembling with emotion. I penned a note with my number, placed it on the nightstand, and hurried to the hospital. Upon waking, he found no note. A frown creased his forehead. That's impossible. I specifically. A look of realization crossed his face. The hotel staff. It seems my uncle had someone keeping an eye on me. Your uncle again? Olivia said with a hint of doubt. Richard Sinclair, my father's brother. Since I took over, he's been making attempts to undermine me. Ethan leaned in closer. When my father passed away 3 weeks following his heart attack, Richard anticipated being appointed CEO. The board selected me instead. What about the note? Richard has consistently monitored my activities, particularly during public gatherings. It's likely he had someone eliminate any evidence of your presence to avoid complications. That seems a bit paranoid. Welcome to the Sinclair family. His smile held a trace of bitterness. I tried to find you. I returned to the hotel and inquired, yet no one seemed to recall you, not even by name. You could have tried harder, Olivia interrupted, the familiar sting of past wounds surfacing. You're right. His unexpected admission caught her off guard. I became engulfed in the pursuit of taking over the company, striving to demonstrate my worth. But I never forgot you. He extended his hand across the table, hovering just above hers. When your resume landed on my desk months ago, I recognized your face right away. Olivia looked at him intently. You were aware I was interviewing? I asked for you specifically, not due to our history. Your work is outstanding. But yes, I wanted to see you again. Why didn't you mention it during the interview process? Would you have accepted the position if I had? She pondered this for a moment, then shook her head. Probably not. Exactly. He let out a sigh. And now my uncle is exploiting our connection to manipulate both of us. Olivia swirled her wine, deep in thought. What comes next? We push forward, Ethan replied, resolve etched into his expression. Together, their gazes locked across the table, and despite her hesitations, Olivia sensed a familiar spark flicker to life between them. 1 hour had stretched into 2, and she found herself reluctant to part ways. Tell me about your uncle, she prompted. What exactly are we up against? As Ethan started to elaborate, neither he nor Olivia noticed the figure lurking across the street, capturing their conversation with a telephoto lens. The boardroom hummed with anticipation as executives entered for the weekly status meeting. Olivia settled into her chair, glancing at the vacant seat next to Richard Sinclair, Ethan's uncle and the company's chief strategy officer. Richard, in his 60s with silver hair and cold blue eyes, so unlike Ethan's warm gray ones, barely acknowledged her presence. When Ethan entered, the room fell silent. He appeared impeccable as always, yet Olivia couldn't help but notice the faint shadows under his eyes. They had not exchanged words in private since their dinner 3 nights prior, keeping a professional distance throughout the workday. Before we begin, Ethan declared, I want to address the rumors swirling about my personal life. Olivia's attention was immediately captured. A few executives shifted in their seats, clearly uneasy. My private affairs are my own, he continued, his voice unwavering. However, I will not allow rumors to interfere with our operations. We have more pressing issues at hand, particularly the Williams acquisition. Richard cleared his throat. On that note, I've put together a thorough analysis, proposing we take a second look. As Richard began his presentation, Olivia observed the board members' responses. The majority appeared doubtful, yet a handful agreed with Richard's arguments. Ethan stayed calm, posing incisive questions that exposed the weaknesses in his uncle's reasoning. As the meeting wrapped up, Olivia collected her things, but Richard made his way to her desk before she could exit. Ms. Carter, impressive work on the new campaign, he remarked, his smile failing to reach his eyes. Have you thought about the proposal from the Andrews Group? They've been quite impressed with your portfolio. Olivia kept her expression steady. I'm not aware of any proposal from Andrews. Really? How peculiar. Maybe it's on the horizon? He adjusted his tie with precision. They're a reputable company. I've heard the culture is better, fewer, complicated. Before she could say anything, he turned and left, leaving her feeling a chill in the air despite the warmth of the room. Later that afternoon, Olivia made her way to the break room in search of coffee. As she drew near, she caught the sound of voices emanating from within. Richard wants him gone before the acquisition is finalized, a male voice murmured softly. But how? The board is in favor of Ethan, a woman responded. Not if his judgment seems questionable. That's where the new marketing director steps in. The one he's involved with? Supposedly. Richard claims it's been happening for years. She's his Achilles heel. Olivia stood still, her heart racing. That clarifies her swift descent. 5 years ago, she was a nobody. The woman chuckled. Well, sharing a bed with a Sinclair definitely unlocked some opportunities. Olivia swung the door open, cutting them off mid-sentence. 2 executives, James from legal and Sarah from operations, looked at her with the wide-eyed innocence of children caught in a misdeed. Please, don't let me interrupt, Olivia remarked with an air of indifference, making her way to the coffee machine. Maybe you'd prefer to keep speculating about my career while looking me in the eye. They stammered their apologies and quickly left the room. Olivia's hands trembled as she filled her cup with coffee. The storyline unfolded in ways she hadn't anticipated. Richard had his sights set on more than just Ethan. He was employing her to accomplish it. She had to speak with Ethan immediately. He's deliberately using our bond against us, Olivia articulated, walking back and forth in Ethan's office after hours. They believe I've been your, I don't know, hidden lover for years. Ethan's jaw clenched. This is beneath even Richard. There's more. She halted her pacing. He brought up an offer from Andrews Group, a company I never submitted an application to. It's a scheme, Ethan remarked. Andrews has strong ties to Richard. If you were to leave Sinclair for them all of a sudden, it would appear as though you were bribing me to stay silent. Ethan rose, making his way to the window that framed Manhattan's skyline. I must put a stop to this before he causes any more harm. But how? I ought to have taken that step long ago, right after my father passed away. He turned to look at her. Richard has been misappropriating funds from subsidiary accounts. Small amounts, meticulously concealed, yet persistent. Olivia fixed her gaze on him. You were aware. I had my doubts. Then I discovered evidence, but, he sighed. He's my father's brother. My cousin is absolutely enamored with him. I continued to hold onto the hope that he would relent if I demonstrated my abilities. But he hasn't.
No.
And now he's pulling you into this mess. Ethan's demeanor shifted, a steely resolve taking over. That's where I put my foot down. A knock broke the tension between them. Ethan's assistant peeked in. Sir, here is the file you requested from the archives. Thank you, Jennifer. Once she departed, Ethan opened the folder, laying the documents out across his desk. 5 years of financial records. The pattern is subtle, yet it exists. Olivia leaned over his shoulder, their closeness igniting a familiar thrill that danced down her spine. These transfers are all sanctioned under the same executive code. Richards. He believed that altering the routing would suffice to conceal it. Ethan highlighted the pattern of transactions. He consistently transfers funds on the 15th, always to these 3 accounts. Shell companies? Registered in the Caymans. Classic structure for avoiding taxes. They toiled into the late hours, meticulously assembling Richard's plan. What unfolded was a calculated scheme to divert company resources while concurrently eroding Ethan's authority. Olivia understood, scrutinizing the latest transactions. The sums had escalated over the past quarter. In alignment with my efforts for the Williams acquisition, Ethan remarked. As they connected the final dots, Ethan's phone buzzed with a text. His expression grew somber as he perused the words. What is it? Olivia inquired. He pivoted the screen to face her. It was a photo of them at the restaurant, heads close together, with the message, board members won't appreciate the CEO's divided attention during such a crucial time. Maybe it's time to rethink your approach to leadership. He's making his move, Ethan said with a serious tone. Then we make ours first, Olivia responded, her determination overshadowing any fear. I have a concept. As they crafted their strategy, the distinction between colleagues and something deeper began to fade. Their common goal fostered a closeness that went beyond their intricate history. When Olivia finally gathered her things to leave, Ethan walked her to the elevator. Thank you, he said softly, for believing me, for helping. I'm helping myself too, she reminded him. My reputation is at stake. Yet not everyone would choose to stand and confront the challenge. The elevator arrived, but before stepping in, Olivia turned back. For what it's worth, I believe you about the note, about looking for me. A glimmer of hope danced in his eyes. That signifies everything. The doors closed between them, yet the bond endured, more powerful than ever. Olivia's phone rang at 7 a.m. She answered with a groggy voice, still half asleep. "Check your email," Ethan urged, his voice laced with urgency. "Now," she said, reaching for her laptop. As she opened her inbox to discover a message from an anonymous sender. The subject line read, "Job opening. Immediate response required." Attached was an offer letter from Andrews Group, featuring a salary nearly double what Sinclair had paid her. "Did you receive one as well?" she inquired. "No, but the board did, along with a suggestion that I've been funneling company resources to maintain your loyalty." Olivia's blood ran cold. Richards took action. "Urgent board meeting scheduled for 2 hours from now. Be prepared." The Sinclair Enterprises boardroom had the atmosphere of a courtroom as Olivia stepped inside. 14 pairs of eyes followed her to her chair. Richard sat at Ethan's right, a self-satisfied smirk on his face. Board members exchanged hushed murmurs, their chatter dying down as Ethan made his entrance. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Ethan started. "I understand that information has been circulated," the board chairman, Walter Brooks, stated. "Ethan, these claims carry significant weight. Misappropriation of funds, personal relationships affecting business decisions, completely fabricated." Ethan interrupted. "But rather than defend myself, I'd prefer to address the real issue." He nodded to Olivia, who distributed folders to each board member. "What you're looking at," she explained, "is evidence of systematic embezzlement over 5 years. The funds were diverted through shell companies registered to one individual within Sinclair Enterprises." Richard's face paled as board members opened their folders. "This is absurd," he sputtered, clearly a desperate attempt to. "The account numbers are verified, Richard," Ethan cut in, "as is your electronic signature on every transaction." Walter adjusted his glasses, examining the documents. "These are serious accusations, Ethan." "That's precisely why I've already notified the SEC," Ethan responded. "Their forensic accountants confirmed our findings yesterday." The atmosphere was charged with turmoil. Richard rose to his feet, his finger directed at Olivia. "You won't believe this. She's pulling the strings. They have been engaged for many years." "Actually," Olivia said calmly, "before I joined Sinclair Enterprises, I had never met Ethan. My qualifications were the sole reason for my hiring." She faced the board. "But Richard has been spreading rumors to undermine both my reputation and Ethan's leadership." Walter raised a hand for silence. "Richard, is there any truth to these financial allegations?" Before he could respond, the boardroom doors swung open. 2 men in suits entered. "Richard Sinclair, SEC Enforcement Division, we need you to come with us." As Richard was escorted out, still protesting, the tension in the room shifted. Several board members expressed their apologies to Ethan for their doubts about him. Walter called for a vote of confidence in his leadership, which passed unanimously. Yet amid the professional victory, Olivia felt strangely hollow. When the meeting concluded, she slipped out quietly, needing space to think. Back in her office, Olivia stared at her computer screen, lost in thought. A knock at her door revealed Jennifer, Ethan's assistant. "Ms. Carter, this is for you." She handed Olivia an envelope from Andrews Group. Inside was an official job offer. Executive Creative Director, with autonomy over major accounts and a salary package that made her eyes widen. "Is there a reply?" Jennifer asked. "No, thank you. I require some time to reflect." Once Jennifer departed, Olivia scrutinized the proposal with greater attention. It was valid. She had confirmed Andrews Group previously, and it was precisely the kind of chance she had envisioned for years. There were no office politics, no tangled past, just the liberty to create something according to her own vision. A message from Ethan lit up her phone screen. "Can we talk?" They convened on the rooftop garden of Sinclair Tower, secluded from prying eyes. "Well done with Richard," she remarked. "The board appears to be solidly supporting you now." That's because of you. He examined her expression. Something isn't right. Without a word, she passed him the Andrews Group offer. You're contemplating it, he declared. Not up for debate. Shouldn't I? Andrews is presenting everything I've strived for. You would just go, after all that we've been through. His voice grew tense. You'd turn your back on Sinclair, on us. Is there even a us, Ethan? She challenged. Is it merely shared history and a professional alliance? You know it's deeper than that. Do I? Because from my perspective, all I perceive are complexities. She averted her gaze, looking out at the city skyline. Each day I enter that building, I'm battling murmurs regarding how I attained my role. With Richard gone, it might improve, but my name will forever be on the building. He concluded softly. Yes. Her tone grew gentle, and will always cherish that night we shared. The question looms, is that enough to construct a future upon, when it has already rendered the present so challenging? Ethan edged nearer, yet refrained from making contact with her. What do you want, Olivia? Not in a professional capacity. Personally, I want. She paused. I want to understand that whatever unfolds between us isn't influenced by our roles, the organization, or any lingering issues from the past. I seek understanding. Perhaps we both require distance to discover it. His tone was soft yet filled with sorrow. I won't obstruct your path, if Andrews is genuinely what you desire. I care about you too much to confine you in my world, if it brings you sorrow. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. His selflessness only complicated her decision further. I need time, she whispered. Take it. He finally reached for her hand, squeezing it once before letting go. Just understand that no matter what you choose, my feelings for you are not connected to Sinclair Enterprises. It never was. He abandoned her there on the rooftop, isolated with the sprawling city laid out before her and two futures poised, awaiting her decision. Olivia dedicated her weekend to her apartment, contemplating her choices. The Andrews Group offer rested on her coffee table, with the deadline for acceptance drawing near. Her phone remained silent. Ethan was honoring the space she'd requested, yet his absence weighed on her more than she'd anticipated. On a Sunday evening, she wandered through Central Park, seeking the clarity that fresh air might bring. The path led her close to the Waldorf Astoria, and on a whim, she made her way to the Grand Hotel. This was the place where everything had started 5 years prior. Excuse me, she inquired of the concierge. Do you maintain records of your masquerade charity events? Certainly, miss. Which year? 20 minutes later, Olivia found herself in the hotel's archives room, sifting through photographs of the masquerade. There she was in the background of one shot, a golden mask obscuring half her face, and there was Ethan, his black mask making him almost unrecognizable to anyone who didn't know him. Ms. Carter, a woman in a hotel uniform, appeared. You inquired about the evening of the masquerade 5 years prior. Indeed. I've been here for 15 years. I can still recall that night. I was overseeing the housekeeping duties. She paused. I'm not supposed to discuss guests, but since it's been so long. There was an incident that morning. A gentleman left a note for his companion, but it was removed from the room before the lady woke up. Olivia's heart raced. Taken away by whom? A man asserting his role as the gentleman's assistant. He mentioned that there had been a family emergency, and he needed to gather all of his employer's belongings. The woman frowned. It seemed odd, but he had proper identification. Did you happen to see what the note said? The woman's expression softened. Indeed, I did. I caught a glimpse of it while he was collecting things. It mentioned something along the lines of family emergency. Call me, with a phone number. I remember thinking it was rather abrupt for such a romantic evening. Thank you, Olivia whispered, emotion tightening her throat. You have no idea how much that means. On Monday morning, Olivia arrived at Sinclair Enterprises with renewed purpose. She left the Andrews Group offer and signed on her desk as she headed straight for Ethan's office. His assistant glanced up in astonishment. "Ms. Carter. He's not anticipating your arrival." "It's important, Jennifer." She found Ethan reviewing documents, his expression guarded when she entered. "You were telling the truth," Olivia said, without preamble, "about the note, about everything." His eyes widened slightly. "How did you—" "I went back to the Waldorf. I spoke with staff who were there that morning." She moved closer to his desk. "Your uncle's assistant took the note before I could see it." Ethan set down his pen, processing this. "Richard's reach was more extensive than I realized." "Why did he dislike you so much?" "It wasn't dislike precisely," Ethan sighed. "After my mother passed away, when I was 12, my father immersed himself in his job. Richard became like a second father to me. But when Dad fell ill," Olivia continued, "and named me his successor instead of Richard, he felt betrayed." "Yes, but that doesn't excuse what he did. To the company or to us." Ethan rose, moving around the desk until they were face to face. "You haven't signed the Andrews offer yet?" "Not yet," she replied, holding his gaze. "I need to know something first. If I remain at Sinclair, what becomes of us? Can we ever move past that night and everything that's unfolded since?" "I don't want to move past it," Ethan replied gently. "I want to build from it." The intercom buzzed, interrupting the moment. "Mr. Sinclair, the SEC agents have arrived with further inquiries regarding your uncle's accounts." Ethan pressed the button. "Inform them that I will be out shortly." To Olivia, he added, "I must take care of this. But tonight, can we talk? Really talk?" She nodded, aware they stood at a pivotal moment. That evening, Olivia got a text with an address and a time. 8 p.m. The setting was an exclusive chamber at the Waldorf Astoria, the very hotel where their paths had first crossed. She entered to discover the room altered, soft lighting casting a warm glow, a small table prepared for two, and Ethan poised in a suit reminiscent of the one he had donned that evening. Yet this time there were no masks. "What is this?" she asked, taking in the scene. "A fresh start," he said. "No masks, no secrets, no interruptions." Over dinner, they engaged in candid conversation about a myriad of topics. His family legacy, her career aspirations, the 5 years they had spent apart, and the tumultuous weeks that followed their reunion were all laid bare. "I've made a decision about Andrews," Olivia said as they finished dessert. Ethan's body stiffened. "And I'm not taking it." She raised a hand as he began to speak. "Not due to you or Sinclair Enterprises, but rather because it's not what I truly desire." "What is it that you want?" "My own agency." Her eyes sparkled as she unveiled the dream she'd nurtured for years. "I've been saving, planning. With my portfolio and connections, I could make it work. Be my own boss, choose my own clients." Ethan listened intently, admiration clear in his expression. "You'd be incredible. It's a risk, one you're more than capable of taking." He reached across the table, taking her hand. "I could help, not financially. I know you want to build this yourself, but with connections, references. You would stand by me if I left Sinclair? I'd stand by you in pursuing what you love." His thumb gently traced circles on her palm. "I want you in my life, Olivia. Everything else is just details." She examined him, searching for any trace of dishonesty and discovering none. "You've truly transformed since that evening. Managing a business can lead to that." His expression shifted to one of gravity. "Losing you twice taught me what truly matters." "I haven't left yet," she pointed out. "No," he agreed, standing and pulling her gently to her feet. "And I hope you never will, at least not in the ways that truly matter." When he kissed her, 5 years of questions and doubts melted away. This wasn't the masked stranger from the masquerade or the guarded CEO from the boardroom. This was simply Ethan, the man she'd never truly forgotten, now standing before her without pretense. "No more missed chances," he whispered against her lips. "No more masks," she promised in return. "Are you certain about this location?" Olivia's real estate agent inquired, gesturing around the vacant industrial space. "It's a bit rough." Olivia strolled over the concrete floor, picturing workstations, meeting areas, and a creative lounge. 3 months had passed since her resignation from Sinclair Enterprises, and her marketing agency was taking shape on paper at least. "It's perfect," she declared. "The natural light, the open floor plan, I can envision it all." The agent appeared doubtful. "Renovation costs will be substantial." "I know what I'm doing," Olivia replied confidently. After signing the preliminary paperwork, she stepped outside into the crisp autumn air and checked her phone. 3 missed calls from her former assistant, Marco, who had eagerly joined her new venture, and a text from Ethan. "Dinner tonight. I have news." Their relationship had developed with careful consideration over the past months. Ethan had kept his promise, supporting her independence while nurturing a personal connection that deepened with each passing day. That evening, they gathered at the quaint Italian restaurant that had become their favorite. Ethan was already at the table when she walked in, his face brightening as she drew near. "So, did you receive it?" he inquired after greeting her with a kiss. "I signed the initial papers today." She was bursting with excitement. After 6 months of meticulous planning, Carter Creative has finally found its home. "Congratulations!" His pride was unmistakable. "We ought to commemorate." Thus the champagne. She gestured toward the bottle chilling next to their table. "Actually, that's for my news." Ethan's expression shifted to one of gravity. "The board gave the green light to my proposal today." Olivia understood the significance of this moment. Ethan had dedicated months to restructuring Sinclair Enterprises, aiming to enhance transparency and prioritize employee needs following the damage caused by Richard. "That's wonderful," she exclaimed, squeezing his hand. "You're transforming the company to reflect your vision, not that of your father or uncle." "It feels right," he admitted. "For the first time, I'm running Sinclair my way." The waiter poured champagne, and they toasted both their achievements. "To new beginnings," Ethan said softly. "And to us," Olivia added. Who could have imagined that evening 5 years prior would bring us here? As she strolled back to her apartment, Ethan appeared unusually anxious. "Move in with me," he proposed out of the blue. Olivia came to a halt. "What? I know it feels sudden, but we've already lost so much time." He grasped both her hands firmly. "I love you, Olivia. I believe I possess, since that initial evening. I don't want to spend any more nights apart." The declaration was unexpected, but not unwelcome. Olivia paused, uncertainty lingering in the air. "What about my freedom?" "Everything I'm building," he assured her. "This wouldn't change that. Your agency is yours alone. This is about us, our life together, separate from work." Looking into his eyes, Olivia realized the fears that had held her back were fading. "Yes," she said simply. "I love you too." 6 months later, Carter Creative officially opened its doors. The industrial space had undergone a transformation into a sleek, modern agency, buzzing with energy. Marco oversaw the team of 12, while Olivia conducted a meeting with their latest client. "Your proposal exceeded our expectations," the client said, shaking her hand. "Particularly remarkable for a relatively young agency. We might be newcomers, but our team brings decades of combined experience," Olivia responded. After the client departed, Marco approached with a stack of messages. 3 more companies are requesting meetings. The word is getting around." Olivia smiled, a sense of satisfaction warming her. She had crafted this, her imagination, her guidelines, her triumph. Her phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. I'm proud of you. Dinner is reserved for 8. Put on something elegant. That evening, she returned to their penthouse overlooking Central Park, only to find Ethan there, holding a small velvet box. Don't worry, he said, noticing her startled expression. It's not what you think. Not yet. Inside the box was a key. What's this for? The Hamptons house, he explained. It's yours now, too. I had the deed changed today. Olivia stared at him. Ethan, that's excessive. It's not a present, he explained. It's a declaration. Everything I have, everything I am, it's shared with you now. When you're ready for the ring, it's waiting. She kissed him, understanding the magnitude of what he offered. Not just property, but a future unbound by their complicated past. 1 year after that night at the Waldorf, they stood together in the same ballroom where they'd first met, hosting a charity masquerade of their own. No masks this time, just Ethan and Olivia, greeting guests as partners in every sense. Carter, your agency's growth has been remarkable, commented a business associate. What's the secret to your success? Olivia smiled. It's all about knowing my worth and having the right support. She caught Ethan's eye across the room, the silent communication between them effortless now. Their journeys remained distinct, she leading Carter Creative to industry recognition, he reimagining Sinclair Enterprises as a more ethical corporate entity. But their lives had become completely intertwined. Later that night, they danced alone on the empty ballroom floor, the staff clearing up around them. Feeling any regrets about turning down Andrew's group? Ethan inquired, twirling her gently. Olivia chuckled. Not one. Although I did just take their biggest client last week. That's my girl. As they swayed together, Olivia reflected on their unexpected journey, from strangers in masks, to adversaries in a boardroom, to collaborators constructing distinct empires while intertwining their lives. What occupies your mind? Ethan whispered softly into her hair. How sometimes the longest roads lead exactly where you're meant to be. He pulled back slightly, eyes serious. No more masks. No more missed chances. No, she agreed, resting her head against his chest as they continued to dance. Just us. At last. Olivia stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of her downtown office, observing the city lights flicker on as dusk enveloped Manhattan. The sign on the building now read, Carter Creative, glowing in elegant blue lettering that could be seen from blocks away. In just 2 years, her agency had transformed from a mere aspiration into a formidable force, employing 35 individuals across 2 floors. The Johnson pitch went flawlessly, Marco declared, stepping into her office with a tablet in hand. All terms have been agreed upon. That makes 5 major clients this quarter. Send the team champagne, Olivia replied, smiling. They pulled 3 all-nighters for that presentation. After Marco left, she glanced at the framed magazine cover on her wall, herself on the cover of Marketing Monthly under the headline, Disruptor. How Olivia Carter built NYC's hottest boutique agency. The success occasionally felt surreal. Her phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. Home early tonight. Special dinner planned. She smiled, knowing exactly what day it was. 3 years since they'd reconnected at Sinclair Enterprises. Ethan always remembered a significant date. Their penthouse was serene when Olivia arrived, but candles illuminated the path from the elevator to the terrace. She stepped outside to discover a table set for 2, overlooking the twinkling panorama of Central Park and the city beyond. Ethan emerged from the shadows, looking handsome in a dark suit, reminiscent of the one he'd worn at the masquerade. Welcome back. What is happening here? She asked, accepting his kiss. Simply honoring our connection. He graciously drew out her chair. Hearn, it seems we may have had a fruitful day. Marco texted. That you secured Johnson. We did, she confirmed, impressed, but not surprised by his intelligence network. They're our biggest client yet. Congratulations. Pride gleamed in his eyes as he poured champagne. Carter Creative is evolving into the empire you envisioned. Speaking of empires, how did the Tokyo meeting go? Ethan had dedicated the past week in Japan, finalizing Sinclair's expansion into Asian markets. Under his guidance, the company thrived, leaving behind the dubious methods of his uncle's time. Productive, the partnership was now official. He raised his glass to creating enduring legacies. They clinked their glasses, and Olivia sensed that familiar warmth spreading through her chest. 3 years together, and the bond between them only appeared to deepen with each passing moment. After dinner, Ethan's demeanor shifted, taking on an unexpected gravity. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you." "That sounds ominous," she teased. He took her hand across the table. "You know I believe in your independence, your success on your own terms." "I do." It was one of the things she cherished most about him, his steadfast encouragement of her dreams. "But I was hoping you might entertain a merger of sorts." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Are you suggesting a business deal, Mr. Sinclair?" "Not quite." He delved into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. Her breath hitched as he lifted the lid to unveil a breathtaking emerald-cut diamond. "I'm proposing a partnership," he continued, his voice husky with emotion. "One with no corporate structure, no board of directors, just us, building a life together." His eyes never left hers. "Olivia Carter, will you take my hand in marriage?" Her vision blurred as unexpected tears welled up. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Olivia marveled at how far they'd come from that night of masks and mistaken identities. Their wedding was everything they desired, intimate and personal, with just 60 guests gathered at a quaint estate in the Hamptons. No press, no business associates, just those who truly mattered in their lives. Olivia wore a simple ivory gown, forgoing tradition for elegance. As she approached Ethan, who stood under an arch of white roses, memories flooded back of their journey from strangers to adversaries, and now, at last, partners in every sense. Their vows were intimate promises, whispered softly for one another rather than for the crowd. When Ethan took her hands in his voice steady and sure, Olivia knew with absolute certainty that all the challenges had led them exactly where they were meant to be. "I dedicated 5 years to seeking a woman whose name eluded me," he confided, "and then another 3, discovering that certain things are truly worth the wait. I vowed to spend each day ensuring you never look back with regret on this life we share." Later, as they embraced in their first dance as husband and wife, Olivia sensed a profound stillness envelop her, a deep-seated certainty that against all odds they had arrived at their destined place. "Happy," Ethan murmured against her temple. "Completely," she answered, leaning into his embrace. "I'm glad we skipped the masks this time," he said with a soft laugh. "No more concealing, not from one another." As the night drew to a close, and visitors started to leave, Olivia and Ethan quietly made their way to the beach, with bare feet on the sand, and her wedding gown clutched in one hand. She gazed at the horizon, where stars kissed the ocean. "So what now, Mrs.? Is it Sinclair Carter?" Ethan asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. She smiled at the hyphenated name they both agreed to take, a symbol of their equal partnership. "Now we create something fresh." Together, they stood in comfortable silence, listening to the waves crash against the shore. Then Olivia turned in his arms, her expression suddenly serious. "Ethan, I have news." His brows knitted together in concern. "Is everything all right?" She took his hand and gently placed it against her stomach, watching as understanding dawned in his eyes. "Are you?" Olivia nodded, her smile radiant. 8 weeks, I discovered just yesterday." Joy illuminated his face as he lifted her off her feet, spinning her in a circle that sent her laughter soaring into the night air. "A baby," he whispered when he set her down, his voice brimming with awe. Our next great collaboration, she replied, kissing him beneath the endless starry sky. On the beach that night, with the waves as their witness, they embraced not just each other, but the future they would build. A future neither could have imagined that fateful night behind golden and black masks, when two strangers found something unexpected, the beginning of forever. If you're seeking a tale that intertwines passion, career aspirations, and the triumph over challenges, The Masquerade Ball is precisely what you're after. Follow Olivia and Ethan's journey from their mysterious encounter to building a future together, facing corporate intrigue and personal challenges. Every chapter unfolds with thrilling twists that will captivate you right up to the final page. Did you find pleasure in this modern love tale? Remember to give us a thumbs up, share with your friends who adore second chance romances, and subscribe to our channel for more enchanting tales, just like this one. We'd be thrilled to hear from you. What country are you tuning in from while watching this video? Share your location in the comments below.